And welcome to Breakout with me, Abha. Thank you so much for watching. You know we are committed on Breakout to bring to you exceptional game changers, movers and shakers, mavericks who have been there and done that, and they are willing to share their expertise, their insights with us so we can break out of what we find limiting and break into something that we find absolutely necessary for us, because they teach us that there is only one rule to life, and that is that there are no rules to life. We just make them up all on the way, because everything is figure outable. Now, my guest today, you see this beautiful lady sitting next to me. She is the published author of 3 books on relationships. She's a certified change coach and relationship coach, a seminar leader, a public speaker, a very opinionated woman, an advice guru, a love expert, and take no prisoners relationship specialist. And she helps you change what is not working in your business and your personal life. She doesn't keep you in your in an office chair for years. She'll give you tools and strategies we can use now. So please welcome Georgene Summers. Georgene, how are you?
Good morning, Abha. How are you?
I am very well, and I'm so glad you're here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. It's my pleasure too. So, Georgene, you have had a very, very eventful life, and I'm wanting to get into your head to see where all those events came from. So you've jumped off the cliff so many times without a net. Give us your background, because now people who are watching you just now and listening to you, I don't want to give an introduction to you, because I know you're going to say it much better than I do. So give us your background, tell us who you are and what you do, and what motivates you to keep jumping off the cliff again and again.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think it's all about, I discovered early in my life that people are prevented from doing the things that they want to do because they're afraid.
Right.
And so they don't even understand, most of the fears are irrational, and so they let them, the fear paralyzes them, and they don't do what they want to do.
Right.
And most of the time, I mean, I came from a fear-based family. My parents were living in the Depression era. My father was on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and so they saw people jumping from windows. And so my father lived a very sort of careful, safe life, and that's what I was brought up in. And I don't know whether it was just that, well, I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm going to do something different.
Right.
I think it started, I think probably the best metaphor I can give you is that I had a fear of fire. And so when I was probably about 40, I decided to go to a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within and do a fire walk.
Okay.
And that was really a change, because that fear was really irrational. It's good to have a healthy fear about something like that. You don't want to run into a burning building naked. But I needed to get over that. And walking over hot coals, 1,600 degree coals, barefooted, that really takes you a long way.
Right.
So.
How was that experience? Because you walked on fire barefoot, and it was your fear, because now you're teaching people not to be fearful, to challenge themselves and not live in that state of mind which is all full of fear. So you said your life changed after you walked on fire. Is living on the edge as easy as it sounds?
Well, I don't think anything is easy. And prior to that, prior to the time that I walked on fire, I did say yes, and I didn't say no. So, I mean, I did jump off the cliff. I mean, I took a lot of risks, a lot of chances.
Right.
I traveled all over. I went on safaris. I've been on safari like 7 or 8 times alone into the bush in Africa in 4 countries, just with my Maasai guide. I've taken a lot of chances and risks, and I don't think that I was ever someone who really played safe, because I feel like there's so much out there to learn,
Right.
and I see that most people stay in a comfort zone. So
Right.
they don't venture out. They stay close to friends and family that they've had since they were in grammar school, really.
Right. Right.
And one of the most interesting things that I find is that when I tell men and women, it makes no difference. The minute I say to them that I've been to Africa alone, the first thing that they say is so predictable is, well, weren't you afraid?
Uh-huh.
And I always say, of what? What am I supposed to be afraid of?
Right.
And I had an interesting experience a couple of weeks ago because I was talking to a girl who was probably in her mid-30s, and I told her I'd been going on safari. She said, oh my God, she said, I would love to do that. And so I said, well, why wouldn't you? And she said, well, I'd be too afraid. And I said, well, what are you afraid of?
Right.
And I swear to you, she said to me, well, I could get eaten by a lion, or I could get mauled.
Right.
And I said, well, where did you hear that?
Right.
And she said, well, tourists get eaten by lions. I said, yes, if they get out of the car and think they're in a petting zoo.
Right.
That's when they get eaten.
Right.
And so somebody that wanted to do something really badly,
Right.
and this irrational fear prevented her because it was about not knowing, not understanding, not about knowing and saying, I don't want to do it.
Right. So I think you moved to Africa alone when you were 60 years old, right?
I did.
You did, and that's interesting because not just the safari part, which is causing tourists a sense of fear. You actually pack your bags and go to Africa. Now, what prompted that?
Well, I had been going on safari since 1996 by myself. Unless I went to 4 countries.
Right.
And so one year I was standing at the top of Victoria Falls.
Right.
And this wonderful mist from the thundering waters was just falling on my face. And I said, I want to go on safari more often on shorter trips.
Right.
Because it was interesting. I was finding that when I was out, and I'd gone out on trips from 3 to 6 weeks in the bush, I was missing certain things. And you're going to laugh at this because the things that I found that I was missing were my dogs. I had 3 dogs.
Okay.
And I was missing picking up the phone and talking to my friends. And I missed Vanity Fair. This is not a plug, but I missed Vanity Fair, and I missed sushi.
Okay.
And I stood there and I said, how can I go more frequently on safari? And so a year later, I wake up in the morning. I was living in the Hamptons in Long Island. And I said, I know, I'm going to move there for a year. True story. And so I packed up 21 boxes of things that I couldn't live without.
Right.
I didn't know where I was going because I looked at the continent and I eliminated Nairobi, I eliminated Mombasa and Arusha, and I eliminated Johannesburg because I had been to those places.
Right.
And so my girlfriend and her husband said, I was visiting them one day, and she said, oh, Chuck and I spent 3 days in Cape Town. You'll love it. So I said, okay, Cape Town it is.
Okay.
That was as simple as it was. And so I rented a complete bed and breakfast outside of Cape Town because I didn't want to be padding down the hallway and find strangers there.
Right.
And I shipped my dogs, and off I went.
Very nice. I mean, this is a lot of people I don't think will be able to clearly relate to what you're saying because I think it's not as difficult as it's sounding. That it's like you are an adventurous mind. You're a person who's free in your head to be able to go out and take action. A lot of people just think of these things. A lot of people then want to make plans. Then they want validation or approval from somebody else. And then eventually they don't do it because somebody will come and tell them, no, it's not the greatest thing to do. So you're a living example of doing something like this. Tell me, you are a love expert. You're a love guru.
Yes.
You write about romance. You write about relationships. You have a lot of experience around this area, and you yourself found your soulmate in Africa online, right?
Right.
So
isn't that amazing?
that is fun. So tell us what happened there.
Well, it's interesting because I had been married and divorced 3 times. And then I was alone, single for 20 years.
Okay.
And when I moved to Africa, I've been alone for 20 years. But the difference, and what I tell my clients that I coach, is two halves only make a whole when you're dealing with cantaloupes, you're dealing with watermelons or tomatoes in the market. Two halves with people don't make a whole.
Right.
And so what happens, I think, in a lot of situations, sadly in most situations with people, they get into relationships when they're not really, they're needy. They come into that relationship because they need to have somebody there to fill them up.
Right.
Instead of being full on their own and being happy and content, and then someone comes and is magnetized into their life and it's another whole person,
Right.
then you have really positive foundation for a good relationship.
Right.
Most people don't do it that way. They want anyone with a pulse. So I have friends like that, and I have clients like that who are willing to take anyone into their life that's still breathing.
Right.
It's not the way to go about it. So when I was in Africa, I ended up staying there for 2 years because my dogs looked so sad when they were shipped in that I thought I can't make them be shipped back again so
Right.
quickly. And I ended up buying a home there.
Right.
And so I was there for the duration. So after 2 years, I was ready to come back. And I was in Panama, and I stood there, and something came over me, and I said, I'm ready for a real relationship with a grown-up.
Mm-hmm.
And grown-up being the optimum word. And a month later, I had gone online, and I had found a couple of interesting people because I thought, well, this is a buffet of interesting people. And if you do it right, you can meet amazing people. It's just that most people jump in and they just look at a picture and they don't look at what that person is or who they are. They don't look under. And so I teach that. I talk to people about how to really start from the very first word and find that person and do it right. So anyway, I'd gone online, and I wanted someone to round out dinner parties because I had a lot of couples friends in Africa. And so I went online there, and I believe in being proactive. And I found this gorgeous man who was with a beautiful girl, but I didn't care because I wasn't looking for a relationship. What I was looking for was just a friend who would round out dinner parties or, go to a movie with me. And so I contacted him, and by a little message, he came back to me, and he was a humanitarian, a British man who had been there for 20 years, gorgeous. And the girl in the picture happened to be his beautiful daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So we started as friends. We had a blind date, and I was determined that I was not going to get involved with anyone there romantically because I was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we were friends. And when I think at the time when we both realized we were both whole people,
Right.
that were satisfied being alone, we weren't looking for that relationship that we had to have. We were just looking as friendship, and he was looking for conversation because he was working with the Zulu all the time.
Right.
And he speaks Zulu. And so we came together, we saw each other a few times, and we realized that there was something going on. This is the point where my now husband always gets embarrassed and turns red. I basically said that I wasn't going to get involved, and I was leaving and going back to America. And so he happened to be an incredibly unique person who, I can say this, that he treats the garbage collector in the same way that he would treat the President of the United States.
Right.
He has respect for all human beings in the same way. And it was something that touched me so much because you can look a long time and not find someone who is respectful to other people.
That's true.
In an even-handed way. And so I realized that he was a unique human being and that I could look a long time and never find someone like that.
Right.
And so we decided to just see where it went on a friendship basis. And so we did. And when we finally decided that we wanted to take it to another level, we loved each other for who we were as people inside. And in December 31st, actually New Year's Eve of 2004, we married in a fairy tale wedding in the garden of my house.
Okay.
And I've been married for going on 12 years.
That's great. That's a fairy tale story. So
Tale.
it is fairy tale, yes. So you're clearly sort of looking at who the person is, not what the person does and how he looks or whatever. So you also now empower women to reach their highest potential for growth and greatness and live their fullest life in the most healthy way and have supportive, great relationships with themselves and their partners. So you run this community for women, which is called a World for Women, which is supposedly a very interesting community. Tell us about this World for Women out there.
Well, A World for Women is my website, and it's a world, the number 4, women.com.
Right.
And it basically is everything that women want to know about everything women want. And it's actually a membership community where for a very nominal amount, they can come in and go through, there's everything in there about health and wellness, beauty and fitness, makeup, hairstyles, there's videos, there are articles on relationships there, there's Pilates exercises, travel for singles, there's a blog where I post different articles and people are able to come in and comment on them. There's really everything. We're going to be putting a financial section in, financial advice for women,
Right.
and anything that I say all the time, anything that they want that isn't there, just ask.
Just ask.
And
Okay. That's great. So if we are talking to Georgene Summers, go to her website www.aworldforwomen.com. That is AWORLD for the number 4, women.com, WOMENC.com. And this is everything that women are looking for. Whatever they want, you'll find it on that website. If you can't find it, just ask, because then she'll provide for it. Either it's there, you can't find it, or if it's not there, Georgene will bring it for you, right?
absolutely.
Absolutely. So
That's why I'm there. I want to empower women to live life to the fullest, as you said, and they live it. It starts with you,
right.
and even though it's a hard concept for a lot of people in general to admit, it's about you. You have to be a whole person first, and then you're going to attract another whole person. If you're a broken person who's looking desperately for somebody to come into their life to fix them,
Right.
you can't fix anybody but yourself.
Absolutely.
And so you need to be happy alone by yourself and have a full and complete life. And there's so many things that you can get involved in
Yes.
that are interesting and that will fill you up. I mean, you can go and help others, reach out to other people and help. It's the most fulfilling of anything that you can do.
Right. So you're now also helping the younger lot, the people who have been in rehab centers with drugs or something and having low self-esteem and weight issues. So there's this Outside the Lines Art Therapy. You're the co-founder of Outside the Lines Art Therapy, a company that promotes change through color coaching and creativity. So I have read about it, but I haven't sort of worked with anybody doing that. So tell us what this one is about and how it's helping people.
Thank you for asking me about that. It's a project that my husband, Paul Hunter, and I put together, and we're just beginning with this company. It is very exciting because in his work, he has a humanitarian company where he makes beautiful butterflies and dragonflies that we sell all over the world, and it's a sustainable employment project for the African tribal people. So it's a handmade project.
Okay.
Where the butterflies and dragonflies are made by hand, but he's an engineer, so he structured a specially engineered machine that the wire is wound around. So the first butterfly and the millionth butterfly and dragonfly are the same.
Okay.
And so we sell to like NASA and we sell to Smithsonian Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And so the butterfly is the symbol of regeneration, regrowth, love, change. And so we took that concept and we took the concept of color that as it's tied into emotions. So good emotions and bad emotions. And then we took my coaching abilities and the different skills and tools that I have to provide to others to to take them from where they are to where they want to be in the shortest possible period of time.
Right.
So we put it together, and what we've done is this art therapy program, which is a 20-hour, 8-week program that we are presenting to rehabilitation centers that work with 14 to 20-year-olds.
Right.
It's a very exciting project, and we're looking to take it across the United States. And so we're really excited about it. And what we do is I work with them for the first 5 weeks, and we they make the butterflies, and their colors are tied into the initial limiting belief or emotion. So let's say it's rage.
Right.
So it's tied into the color of rage, and then I work with them on what their ideal resolution to the rage would be. So maybe it's indifference, or maybe it's happiness, and that's also tied to a color. And then in between, there are 2 steps which they select. It could be acceptance, forgiveness, understanding. Those are also tied to colors.
Right.
And the colors are colors that come from research, so they're not just arbitrary colors.
Right.
And so then I work with them using different tools and techniques to get through that limiting belief. And as they're going through it, amazingly enough, they will go through those 2 intermediate steps, and they'll reach that resolution. And while they're doing it, they're decorating those butterflies to get with different materials that we give them,
right,
to get through that limiting belief and to go on to the resolution. And at the end, they get a shadow box where the butterflies are ascending into the sky from the lowest point up to the resolution.
Right.
It's very exciting.
That sounds great, because this is almost like it's like I can, while you're talking, I can see the process. I mean, I can see what's going on, and the whole way of transitioning from a place of the lower energy or the lower color to the higher place of resolution. That's great. I wish you super success with that. I think I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. Let me come to your books. You've written a book which is a collection of short love stories, and no lust, you say, just sweet, caring, old-fashioned love. So 50 Shades of Love, a collection of romances. So what's this book about? Are these they're short love stories? So what stories are these? Have you written them yourself, or are they real stories?
Well, here's what I've done. This is the first. And do you have? Can I just hold this up? Can you see that?
Yes, of course. Yes, please. Okay.
So that is the cover of the book. I'm very excited about it. It's the first volume of now what is going to be a series of 4 volumes.
Okay.
And so it is a collection of romances. There's enough out there of lust,
right,
and certainly right lust if that's what I wanted to do. But I think that there are people out there, so many women out there that are looking for happily ever after.
Right.
And so this first collection is a collection of 8 stories.
Right.
They're all based on true stories. In fact, the entire 4 volumes are all based on true stories.
Okay.
And so there's 8 stories in there, and they're just lovely, wonderful stories about renovated love, about reignited love, about lost love, and about, above all, happily ever after, hope, that
Right.
there is love and there is hope, and sweet, just nice and caring. And the initial thing, it was released last week,
Right.
and initial reaction is amazing. I mean, women are saying to me, oh my God, I just wanted the stories to go on longer. I wanted more. And so volume 2 is going to be released early next week.
Okay.
And it is called, it's called An Afternoon. It's 50 Shades of Love, An Afternoon of Romances.
Okay.
And it's another a collection of 8 more stories.
Right.
And so each volume is going to be 50 Shades of Love, but different subtitles, and each one will have at least 8 stories in it. And so I'm just so happy that women are responding to it in the way that they are. It's just exciting.
I think love is always attractive, and people and women, and I think even men, we all like that. We all love the idea of love. So when somebody writes about it and it's relatable, it's something that we can connect with. It's always beautiful. So people listening and watching, please go look out for Georgene Summers' book called 50 Shades of Love, a collection of romances. The first volume has been released last week, and the second volume comes next week. It is called 50 Shades of Love, An Afternoon of Romance, right?
Yes, that's volume 2, and it's on Amazon Kindle.
It's
But
on Amazon Kindle. Okay,
they
great.
don't have to just go to Amazon.com and they can go in there and search it. It'll come right up. They don't have to have a Kindle. They can have a lot of other devices. All they have to do is download the Kindle app, and they can do it on their computer. So there's a
Fantastic.
variety of this.
Fantastic. So you're like a relationship guru. You're the love guru. You're the love expert. Your experience. I mean, it's really nice because somebody with that kind of experience can help so many other people experience life differently. So I'm excited about reading your book. You have three other books on relationships, right?
Yes,
The latest is called Blind Spots: The Ultimate Guide to Love in the Dark.
correct. And that's available both. That's right now is available in hard copy. I'm going to be putting it onto Kindle, but it's also on Amazon.
It's also on
All
Amazon.
my yes, all my books are on Amazon.
Fantastic. So this is called, the other book is called Blind Spots: The Ultimate Guide to Love in the Dark. And I'm talking to you. I'm already sort of thinking. I'm already sort of reeling in my head as I wanted to get into your head. Now my head is thinking, what should I be doing? Should I go to Africa? Should I do the safari? Should I fall in love? Should I write more books? There's so much to do. Georgene is inspiring us to do that. So where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, that's an interesting question. I I think I just take it from myself. I mean, I have a curious mind. I don't know if you knew this, but I had a nightclub in Manhattan that I opened, and that was one of my
I read about that.
incarnations.
Tell us about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another incarnation. But I just think that I'm interested in seeing the world, in seeing other cultures, in experiencing everything that I can experience. And the only way that you can do that is by stepping out of your comfort zone. And
Right.
I say, jump over, jump around, jump through, jump off the cliff without a net. And it's what I do every day. I take risks, and it's an interesting thing because I have people that I talk to, and they'll say to me, "Oh, well, I'm going to try and do this. I'll try and lose weight. I'll try and take more chances." And I say to them, and it's an interesting analogy: try to pick up that pencil off the table. You
Right.
either pick it up or you don't. Now
Right.
you may drop it, and then what do? You pick it up again. But if you don't try, if you don't do something, then you fail automatically.
Right.
And so that's why I always say that I give it a chance no matter what. I don't say no until, even after the fat lady sings, I don't say no. I just do it again and again and again and
Right.
again. And I fail sometimes, but then I just pick myself up, brush myself off, and carry on. Off I go.
Right. So I remember my son's teacher used to say when he was a kid, because we always heard try and try until you succeed. And he used to say try and try until you die. And I used to love that because, so that you just have to go on doing it. You can't stop. You can't sort of think that, okay, it is going to happen at some point because I'm thinking of it now. You got to go out there and act. So Georgina is a living example of doing something like that. And she's doing everything. She is, if I can say, a true experiencer of life, a person who really believes in experience and goes out and gets that experience. So we all can learn from her what she's doing, and it's important to create these experiences in life to feel fulfilled, to feel happy, to feel a sense of love, and feel a sense of inspiration from ourselves. So, Georgine, thank you very much for coming here, and thank you for your time and sharing your story and sharing your courage with us. It's really important for people to watch this and know that it's possible.
Well, Abba, thank you so much for having me. It's been an incredible pleasure. I've enjoyed this so immensely, and I would love to come back again if you'll have me.
Of course, we will talk more at length. Maybe we'll pick up one of your books and go at length about, let's talk about love, because I think that's yet another thing that people need to talk about in a more open and more objective way, but in a relatable way. So when I'm talking to you, I can sort of feel what you probably have written and how you're talking, how you're expressing yourself. It's important for people to be able to see love from that perspective as well. So maybe we can come back again and talk about love,
I love it. Love
the
it.
no lust, the sweet, simple, caring love.
It's possible for everyone. no matter what age you are,
Right.
if you just do it right. It's about doing it right.
Right.
And so many women tend to do it wrong impulsively and without thought.
Right.
And so you can have that loving relationship if you love yourself first.
That's true. That's true. Thank you, Georgene. This was Georgene Summers talking to us. She is a published author of books on relationships. She's a love expert. She is a public speaker. She's a very, very opinionated woman. We just saw that, and she has a lot of experience in courage because she just goes out and, as she says, jumps off the cliff without the net, and she's alive. We can see she's in front of us. So it's not something that we need to fear, or we need to think that we always have to have a plan there. We need to go out of our comfort zone, have faith in ourselves, have faith in our abilities, fall in love with ourselves, understand who we are as people, and take that leap, just like Georgene. So we speak to you next week. Georgene, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.